We are here to talk about your career there, Master Sergeant Zumwalt. That feels weird to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever called you that, but.
Well, you and I were staff sergeants together, so.
Yeah. Walk us through your career, starting with boot camp, when and where?
June 1993, San Diego, California.
Okay.
MCRD San Diego.
And obviously you went to MCT in Pendleton.
Yep.
Where'd you go after MCT?
After MCT, I went up to 29 Palms, California for MOS school. Graduated February of '94 as a radio operator, and went to Okinawa, Japan for the first time.
So 06, you say you're a radio operator. What other jobs they have? What other kind of comms are there in 06?
There's a litany of them, but the primaries are, you've got radio operators, you've got wiremen, you've got data guys, satellite operators. Yeah, those are the primaries, but there's individual MOSs all throughout that.
Yeah, I was looking through some of them. I don't think the Japanese would realize that we have SATCOM data operators, and was it high definition communications operators or something like that?
Yeah.
High def video and all this specialized in that. So when you went to 29 Palms, what did you learn? What did they teach you there? Did you learn Morse code or anything like that?
No, that was more for the smart guys like you. No, it was all basic radio operations, how to install, operate, and maintain the systems that we were working with at that time. In Marine Corps, the Marine Corps relies a lot on the job training in the communications field. They'll give you the basics, and then you got to go kind of figure it out from there. Because comm is no easy. It's not something that you're going to learn at an in-depth level in a 6 to 8 week course.
So they teach you how to connect this stuff and then throw you out there to learn how to use it.
Correct. You can connect it, you can turn it on, you can learn how to set frequencies, talk to people, make the radio do what it's got to do. But when you're employing it at the levels that we did in the Marine Corps, it takes a little more experience. So
when you went to Okinawa first time, where'd you go?
I was at Camp Foster, and let's see, barracks 221 or 212. It was up there on the hill, but that was with Lima 312. I was with an artillery battery.
Yeah, 312. Okay.
Yeah, it's back before right about the time they disbanded 212. 312 was still there. Matter of fact, I don't think 12th Marines is over there anymore. In Okinawa, they moved them. I think they moved them headquarters back to Pendleton. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I did a lot of deployments with 312 for their artillery relocation exercises. And when I first got to Foster, the 312 chow hall was still open. And so yeah. I remember eating there because they were working on the other one. And then as soon as they finished that one, 312 went up to Hanson, and they turned that chow hall into like this mini eatery with like Dunkin' Donuts and stuff in it. And I think the band moved into 312 barracks. And get this, since 312 moved up there, guess who has to defend Foster in case of emergency?
The band.
The band. The band is the emergency security for Camp Foster now.
That's funny. Let's see, I was there 94 to 95, came back to Camp Pendleton, served at 9th Comm Battalion for 4 years. And then in 1999, I transferred back to Okinawa, and I was with Headquarters Battalion, 3rd Marine Division. And that's where you and I met. It was year 99 or 2000. I think it was 99. You and I met.
99, yeah. 99 yeah. Was with MEF G2.
Yeah.
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 And you were down the hill by the PX and whatnot.
Yep. Down on Camp Courtney then. But yeah, Okinawa, sure. Candace and I talk about it all the time, wanting to get the kids over there and go see some of the things that we enjoyed. Mm-hmm. Hito Point and get up to Naha, or get up to Nago and down to Naha, and just frequent some of the places that we really enjoyed. But they say it's changed. Candace and I absolutely love the people there, the culture, the history, the friendliness, the welcomingness. It was a shared thing. You know, when we used to venture off, you know, you have your common areas where Americans hang out, that kind of thing. We'd try to avoid that, and we'd go up to Nago, and then, hey, there's a road there, go up the road. We're way in the heck and gone back there, see a little building with a coffee cup on the side. It's like, all right, we're pulling in there, get a cup of coffee. The owners come out, they just want to sit down and talk to you. They probably hadn't seen an American in a long time.
So when the first time you went to Okinawa, you said you were with the Arty guys, you deploy with them a lot? Or?
Yeah, we did a deployment. We jumped onto the 31st Mun. We headed down to the Philippines to take part in some operations, some training operations down there. I believe it was called Balakatan at the time.
Yeah, Balakatan.
And then we also did a reenactment for the 50th anniversary of the Leyte Gulf landing. February of 95, March timeframe 95, I transferred back to Camp Pendleton, California, and I did 4 years there. With 9th Bravo Company 9th Communications Battalion. Amidst that time, I did a lat move after my first 4-year stint in the Corps, and transitioned from radio operator over to a unit level circuit switch operator, which is now in the telephony side. And it's a little more integrated, a little less simple.
I got something to tell you. You know, I was SIGINT, right?
Yeah.
And I was a 2600 for years. I couldn't figure out why I was a 2600. Even people would always ask me, what the hell is that, right? Hit me the other day, dude. 20 years after I left the Marine Corps, finally understand. It's Intel, so 2, obviously. But yeah. Our title was Special Communications Intercept Operator Analyst. Special Communications, hence Intelligence 6 Communications 2600.
Well, aren't you just the smart puppy dog?
I know, right? It only took me 25 freaking years, but I figured it out. Nobody had to tell this smart puppy nothing. Figured it out all by myself. I was in comm this whole time and didn't even know it.
Yes. Yeah, there you go. Can you still read Morse code and pick up on it?
Oh, hell no, dude. And that's the thing I need to mention for folks watching this, because one of the questions was if the comm guys still use Morse code, and you answered that for me. But yeah, I did. In Fort Huachuca, Arizona, the first place I had to go train, what they taught us there was basically Morse code, how to copy it and how to arrange it. There's a special way communicators arrange their code, and we learned that. And then we went to Corey Station in Pensacola, where we learned satellite communications intercept. I didn't understand any of that crap. I literally memorized my textbook to take the test because I didn't understand anything I was reading.
Well, at that point, you know, I can concur with your process of passing the course, because that's all I did. I didn't understand the theoretical concepts until later on. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a developmental thing. We were what, 18 years old going through 19, school,
something like that. Yeah.
The only thing I was interested in at 18 years old came in, well, I'll be clean on
money and
channel.
Women. Dude, yeah. I kid you not, I tell everybody this, and this is the dead truth. I decided to join the Marine Corps when I saw the recruiter walking up to my house in his blues, and I thought to myself, if I had that uniform, I could get me some women. And that's why I joined the Marine Corps. Nope. I had no idea what the Marine Corps was until history class at boot camp, dude. And that's when I went, oh. After Pendleton, where'd you go?
Back to Okinawa. As I said, that's where you and I met when I went to Headquarters Battalion, 3rd Marine Division. By the way, when I was at 9th Comm at Pendleton, deployed a few times over to the desert. That's the first time I went over into the desert. That's when Saddam was acting up and all that. Mm-hmm. Before Kuwait? The big,
Kuwait?
Yep, went into Kuwait and did a lot of stuff over there.
What would a comms guy do over in Kuwait?
Communicate.
Just set up the comms, make sure it's all working.
Yep, set it up, make sure it's all working, facilitate the needs of those higher above me.
what would you do there at headquarters battalion day to day as a comms guy?
Well, I was platoon sergeant. We had equipment to maintain. And as I said, as you and I were discussing earlier, the theoretical, the operational knowledge that really makes a robust person, you know, in any OC field. I mean, you could teach a monkey how to change the oil in a car, but when you talk to a real mechanic that's been doing it for 30 years, he's going to look at that oil, he's going to feel the oil, smell the oil, and he's going to listen to the motor, and he's going to tell you exactly what's going on with that motor, you know, kind of thing. So it was our job, it was my job and the jobs of my contemporaries at that time to train our personnel to operate and install, operate, and maintain the equipment that we had. And we were constantly working on theoretical scenarios and forcing those guys to program it and ensure the programming was accurate based on the hypotheticals that we would give them.
So the hypotheticals basically be what issues they might face in the field that they would have to overcome and that sort of thing, or?
No. How is it that I'm going to communicate to this other unit on the other side of the planet? You know, let's start at ground zero, and then we're going to work through this problem all day, maybe even all day tomorrow or all week, until we come up with a formidable plan that says, okay, this is how we're going to do this. This is what we're going to need to do this. This is all the equipment that's going to be needed. And then we'll mock it and do a mock setup, eliminating the mediums in the middle, satellite or anything like that, and force my guys to program all of the equipment in the string line that's needed to be able to make that happen. So it's constant, it's training. And yes, we've got PT in there. Yes, we've got all the other stuff in there that needs to happen. But the main focus was always, where's the knowledge base, and make sure equipment is ready to go at any given time.
After your second Okinawa, where'd they send you?
Let's see. I went to the schoolhouse from there, and I taught at the schoolhouse for about 2.5 years. Amidst that time frame, that's when Desert Storm kicked off, or not Desert Storm, but
no, not Desert Storm. Iraqi Freedom.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Operation Iraqi Freedom.
And Desert Storm 2.
Yeah, pretty much. But that's when that kicked off. Cut my tour there short. And so I was only there for 2.5 years.
And I think that's the last time you and I have met face to face, person to person, was then. 29 Palms. I had just gotten out of the Corps, and I'd gone back to the States for my brother's wedding in 2003. And I drove back to see John because he had just come back from Iraq. And you came over to his house during lunch and we talked. That's the last time you and I have met face to face, like 18 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I remember that. I remember when John came home. That was, I was sure happy to see him back in one piece.
Yeah, it was meeting him that I knew something was different. I just went, okay, this is different. Because when I got out, there was a lot of rumors, you know, that this is going to be another Desert Storm, 30 days, it's over, we're going to get there, it's done. They're going to stop loss everybody, stop move everybody. You're going to get stuck on Okinawa, then it's all over, and you're, you know, and I was EAS in December of 2002. So I was like right on the cusp there, and I didn't care about going to war. If I was, you know, I requested to go to Afghanistan, I requested to go to East Timor. I wanted to go, but I kept getting told it's out of our, you know, AOR, and Iraq's out of our AOR. So if you extend,
well, you speak Japanese.
Yeah, and that was the other thing too, is I never got to deploy to Australia or the Philippines or Thailand because they had to keep me around in case the general needed me for interpreting. Never mind, the general was in Thailand or Australia or the Philippines, you know. So yeah, I got screwed out of doing a lot of cool Marine stuff because of that. And because the rumors were that it was just going to be another 30-day thing, I was just like, why am I going to re-enlist when I'm just going to get stuck on Okinawa? I'm going to miss out on this and then end up at like frickin' Lejeune for 2 years, you know? So I moved on. And then I talked to John and I was like, oh shit, this is different. This is different. and I knew then that was still like September of 2003. And I knew, I was like, this is different. And I
this
tried to get
drag
back
on for a while.
Okay. So cut it short. And then what? Iraq, right?
Yep. They sent me over to Camp Lejeune. Second FSSG needed a wire chief.
Did you know they were deploying to Iraq?
Oh yeah. When I got there, literally when I got there, they left. I was their replacement after half the tour. They were doing a relief in place mid-tour. And the irony of it all, not only was, I was a staff sergeant at the time. I deployed to Iraq. I became the OIC of wire, not as staff sergeant in a combat zone. I was like, okay, well, here we go. And spent 7 months over there, 6 months over there, came back. We were back for a while, turned around and did it again. And this time deployed for 13 plus months, and then came back. So it was busy times.
Then where they send you, Paris, Italy?
No, I wish, but no, I got a good duty station. I went up to 8th and 9. I was at 8th and 9 in Washington, D.C. It's the oldest post in the Marine Corps. And its original purpose was to have a volley of Marines within marching distance to the Capitol. That was its whole purpose. Now it's the home of the Commandant, and a number of the assistant commandants live there. It's also Alpha and Bravo Company. They're fully functional grunt companies, O3s. They've got a burial team. They've got silent drill platoon. They've got the evening parade. They've got the sunset parade. At the time, they had MCI Company, which is Marine Corps Institute. And I was the technical advisor for Marine Corps Institute, representing the 06 Ockfield for all the MCIs that came out for the 06 community. But ancillary to that, I marched. I took part in 21 different evening parades while I was there, and numerous sunset parades and other excursions. And it was pretty cool. But then they turned around and said, well, we need you back down at Camp Lejeune. So I arrived, and I knew that I was going to immediately deploy within a week of arrival down there. I deployed to Bahrain for a year and served with a unit over there doing some pretty cool things. Got to see a lot of interesting country. Saw a number of other countries while I was there as their communications chief. Went to comm chief school right before and all that. So it was a pretty good deal. Came back from that, and instead of going back into the comm squadron, I interviewed with 2nd Marine Air Wing on Cherry Point for the Inspector General. So conducting inspections of all the operations and everything like that. It's kind of like the secondary FASMO thing, sexual harassment, single Marine program, drill, pomp and circumstance kind of stuff. Any of your complaints that came up the chain were routed through our office there. Served with a great guy as a retired Master Gunnery Sergeant, Terry Rudisil. What an awesome individual. Really enjoyed working for him. Worked for him for a couple of years, and then things got difficult at that point because I was 3rd in line to take over a battalion on the lineal list. And the guys above me, I was a Master Sergeant at that point. The guys above me all had some lame excuse as to why they weren't going to take the orders down to 1st Battalion, 6th Marines. It came down the line. They said, hey, you're on the list. You need to go. I went down there, took over 1st Battalion, 6th Marines as the communications chief. And that was my final unit in the Marine Corps. We deployed on the 22nd MEU. We visited Spain, Portugal, saw the Suez Canal a few times. It was pretty cool.
So how long were you?
21 years, 8 months, 10 days.
What made the decision to retire?
It was about time that I paid attention to my own family and my boys, that kind of thing. It had nothing to do with the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps is a great institution. I think the Corps itself is where they keep the mindset that we are the 90-day warfighter. We go in, we take care of things, we get it done, and we are fully capable and ready to do that. Me being a communicator, I was just a fraction of what was needed to make that happen. I don't regret any of my time in the Marine Corps at all, but it was time I retired, come home, be with my family. My kids are getting older. I was gone a lot during that time frame, from all the workups on the MEU to being gone for 9 months to Bahrain to twice to Iraq and all the workups and everything for that. It was just here 1 minute, gone the next. I was more of a figurehead and a picture on a shelf than I was a person. And I told my wife, God love her, I said, look, when I hit 20 years, then you have a voice. 20 years, we can retire at that point. When I hit 20 years, then we'll discuss where we want to go as a team, and she didn't say anything until it came time with that in the middle of that, or right before the deployment to 1-6. She said, and just quietly, I think that's enough. The boys need you, I need you, is what she said. And I said, okay, I understand. I had to respect that because she'd been carrying the fort for a long time.
Now y'all met on Okinawa, right?
Yeah, we did. Yep.
Because I knew Candace before y'all started dating, and she and I had a good personal relationship, but she and I had no professional relationship whatsoever. And
no.
So I don't think she and I have ever seen each other in uniform.
Matter of fact, I introduced you to her.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Shows how much I remember, man.
Well, we did a lot of drinking back then.
Yes. We're looking forward to talking to her too, because I doubt, many Japanese realize the number of women in the Marine Corps, and I would love to get her story on things too.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I have a lot of questions for you from my viewers.
It's absolutely realistic. I mean, when I went in comm school, obviously we were using some of the old equipment from the Vietnam era. And even then they were saying, you get out on a patrol, that kind of thing, the radio operator with that antenna sticking up is going to be one of the first ones that's going to go down. So you're a walking target.
You and the machine gunners.
Yeah. Yep. Take out comm, take out heavy machine guns, and you pretty much consumed it. Oh yeah, close air support, artillery, you name it. Yeah, when you're on the ground and you're in the middle of it, yeah, call for fire, absolutely.
Is that something they teach in the school, or something you learn on the job?
Every unit kind of follows there's a set pattern for it as to how to do it, and some units kind of do their own little twist with it. There's certain ways that you communicate with airplanes, certain ways you communicate with ground artillery, and sister forces, different ways that you do it. I used to carry around a cheat card in my pocket that if I needed to do it, albeit I remembered most of it at that time anyhow. It's really not that difficult, but when you're in the heat of it, you may need those notes. The happiest was seeing my youngest in my family when I came home from Iraq the second time, and the worst time was when I had to leave them, and Candace was pregnant. I never really took an interest, and things never really fazed me emotionally, like going to combat or anything like that, or deploying. It never really fazed me until I had kids. And that's it. Maybe that was just a box that I had closed up on the inside, and they got opened by them. And I mean, that wasn't easy to do. not if you want to maintain your career. There are very few times that any Marine could have turned down a deployment. Were there Marines that were doing it? Yes, to their own sacrifice.
You weren't going to be in the Marine Corps long after that.
Or if you were far enough along in the Marine Corps, you just weren't progressing any further up the rank chain.
Right. First thing you learn in boot camp is we're here to fight. If you ain't going to fight, well, get out of the team.
Time for you to go. Of course, but I'm definitely not going to go down the road of throwing my grunt brethren under the monkey bus. I've met a lot of very technical and very smart Marines that are riflemen and O3s who chose to be there. I've met a number of them that I'm glad they were just trigger pullers because they couldn't understand technology at all. So have I been able to put all this to use in the civilian community? In different ways. Communications, anytime you're dealing with communications, you're dealing with electronics, and electronics, you get into electrical theory and wiring to signal transmissions to radios to helping friends out, that kind of thing at home with their Wi-Fi, to they've got an outlet that's not working, helping them trace that down, figure it out, making it all work. So if you can figure out the theoretical side of communications, you can understand the civilian side of communications and electronics as well, because it's all run based on the same basic fundamentals. That's an interesting endeavor. They teach you a lot of different. The sergeant's course that's an interesting endeavor. They teach you a lot of different drill. They basically take you out of the platoon level and they put you at the front of the platoon, and they're teaching you the pomp and circumstance and the movements and the stuff like that that's needed to be known to be out in front. It's not just something that is willy-nilly that's out there. What it's also doing at that same time is it's teaching you to work with your peers and how to lead people of the same rank. That's one of the hardest things in the Marine Corps to do, is to lead your peers. And you get introduced to the NCO sword, and that's when you first start marching with it, etc. So it's kind of a rite of passage.
My friend, it has been good talking to you. We will catch up.
You too.
I definitely want to talk to your wife, so let her know, please.
I have, and she'll get back to me on it here when she's done with their little business trip. So
beautiful. I will be seeing her soon then.
All right. Talk to you later, bro.
All right, my brother. Take it easy.